I have enough headroom to make this work. Last time I had no headroom, and I was like, "Wow, my angle
Oh,
looks like absolute trash," and I'm a photographer.
yeah.
The irony.
Hey, it
But
happens. Sometimes
all right.
too many things on the go.
hmm So we're here on January 3rd of 2022. We made it to the new year. We made it one
Mhm.
episode of the Untitled podcast. We still don't know what it is. Should probably do some more homework and figure it out. But we're
Might
here
have
with
to.
Mr. Kenny Kroeker again.
Mhm.
Our guest 2 episodes in a row. It's an
Man, I
honor.
must have
I
done
hope.
something right the first time.
Yeah, you did something really good. We finally got the video process at least figured out now. We can now hear each other and it's working. I had a
Mhm.
couple of I had probably had about 2 handfuls full of boomer moments, but we're
Yeah,
here
you
and
just growing pains. Just growing
yeah,
pains.
oh, it hurts a lot. So, what happened with you with New Year? How do you do? What do you do with that? How'd you spend that?
Not too much. It was a pretty low key night.
Same
It was
here.
good though.
I
Yeah.
had fun.
Yeah.
My plans consisted of going to Grace's house, passing out on her bed at 10 o'clock, waking up 5 minutes for the ball to drop. Hey, watch it. And then going home and
Yeah.
just passing out.
That's fair. That's fair. I think that's something that comes with age.
Yeah, maybe I am turning into a boomer. But what'd you do?
No, I was over with some friends earlier, but I went back home before midnight even. So I
Yeah.
was just on a call over midnight, but that was about the length of it. It was a
Mhm.
pretty low key night, but
What you
I'm
got?
perfectly okay with that.
What you guys do up in Canada for New Year's? We have New York City and all the pop stuff is not my
We watched New
thing.
York City.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
No, I mean personally, I don't really do anything, but lots of people watch New York City,
Yeah.
and then just lots of little house parties is pretty normal. And I mean, bars, if a couple years ago, bars were common for New Year's too.
Yeah. I think you guys are starting to kind of become a little bit looser with COVID restrictions, aren't you? Starting to work
In
into them a little bit.
Ontario, I think we're actually becoming more strict as of this
Again?
year.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
we locked down. I can't get a beard trim anymore, but I can get a haircut, just because of the mask issues.
Oh,
Um, and I think they might be shutting restaurants down again,
yeah.
like as far as dining stuff.
Yeah.
So it'll be
Hmm.
takeout only. I don't know if patios or anything. I mean, who wants to be in a patio in the winter in Canada?
Yeah, that's a very good point. I personally I wouldn't. I was
Yeah.
outside all day today. It was like 14 out. I'm like, this really is not good.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what the temperature was today, but it felt cold.
Probably colder than us. Ugh.
Maybe. I don't know.
There's,
It'll depend.
there's one time in high school I went to Quebec, as you guys pronounce it.
I mean, I say Quebec.
Yeah,
But it depends if you're from there or not.
yeah. Quebec, whatever you want to call it. We went there
Yep.
for a French field trip, which I don't know how that ever got pulled off, but we went in January. It was like
Ooh,
mid-January or so, early to mid.
bad choice.
It was terribly cold. Holy cow. We went to check out this ice sculpture around the block from our hotel, and I wore like goggles and stuff. And I swear, within like maybe half a minute of being outside, they had iced over.
Yeah.
it
Yep.
was it was intense. Like I've never experienced a cold like that before.
Yeah, it's one thing to think about it and be like, well, if you've experienced, I mean, I don't know what anything in Fahrenheit, but if you've experienced anything below freezing, it's usually, oh, that's cold. How much colder can it get? But it can get colder.
Oh, apparently it can. I can only imagine what the polar vortex time was all about with that. Holy
Yeah.
cow. People
Yeah, I
must
mean,
have just
and it's
turned to ice
in
and
most
stuff.
of Quebec and Ontario where I live, I mean, there's a lot of places in Canada a lot colder.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, in
makes sense.
Celsius, I mean, northern Alberta and stuff like that, where
Yeah.
I'm my one of my brothers worked, they would, at night when you park your truck, you leave it
Mhm.
running.
Really?
Yeah, they would just, they'd go to bed, but they leave the vehicle outside running just because it was that cold.
I thought you were going to say block heaters. I'm like, okay, I can see block heaters. We've got
Yeah.
those. But yeah, I guess you don't ever
Yeah.
want it to stop the motion.
No, he was talking minus 40 Celsius.
Holy
I honestly have
cow.
no clue what that is in Fahrenheit, though.
I don't know. I know
Minus
freezing
something.
is 32 degrees, so that's
Yeah.
0 for you guys. I'm
A
gonna say it's probably a bit colder than that.
little bit. Yeah.
Holy cow. Yeah,
Well,
that
when you think that 0 is freezing, 100 is boiling, and then you go negative 40.
is there like a super iced over super frozen? Is there like a next evolution to frozen?
Well, that's in the land of ice road truckers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's when the lakes freeze over and they turn them into roads for the winter.
It's pretty
So
intense. It's pretty
yeah,
cool.
it's pretty cool stuff. Yeah.
I think I
He
saw I think I
there's a
saw
show.
before that there's a lot of or there's at least some places where they have lake drifting courses and whatnot.
Hmm.
That's a
Yeah,
thing.
there's like lake like ice races. I think there's
Yeah.
a place a couple hours north of me where they
Mhm.
do that, but they try and keep everything pretty low budget.
Mhm.
But they have like front wheel drive classes and rear wheel drive class, and then sort of I think an unlimited class where all the all wheel drive stuff goes and things like that.
That's pretty cool. That honestly be a really cool thing to check out.
I just heard about it recently, and I'm thinking it'd be a pretty cool thing to go check out for sure.
Yeah. Okay. This is a question I'll have for you, and honestly, it's be for anybody. I'm really genuinely trying to figure out a solution.
Okay.
So, when it comes to like winter, I want to shoot stuff, but boy, do I not want to shoot stuff. My hands are like old man hands. They're so like frail when they get cold. They
They
just
get
stop
cold and start
working.
hurting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I had a good solution for that, but there's not many people who want to shoot like don't want to have their car out in the winter, so I usually don't come across that. But
Yeah.
if I do, it's good to be near something heated so you
Yeah.
can take a break
The
and pop
exhaust.
inside.
Just
Yeah,
try to book a vehicle that spits flames.
that would
See, that's
work.
that is the perfect use for it. That's what it should
Yeah,
be for.
I could get down with that.
Yeah. Does
Yeah,
it spit flames?
yeah.
No. We don't
Nope.
want it. Has to spit flames. There's no other
Yeah.
ifs, ands, or buts.
I mean, the other option is to shoot everything in the summer and then do composites.
Yeah. I saw one of the guys I follow online. I think I only followed him because he was following me and I checked it out. It's kind of cool. He's from Vermont and he shoots stuff like snowboarding and stuff like that. And like
Mhm.
the stuff's cool, but I just need to figure out for myself, like, okay, how can I go about this and not be in like the most pain ever when I'm trying to work?
I think they probably use what I find whenever I'm wearing gloves, my controls, like I obviously want to control the camera
Yeah.
and it gets so clumsy.
Yeah,
It's
that's my
tricky.
experience too.
But with the right gloves, maybe. Uh,
Yeah.
there are certain photos that I'd love to get.
Hmm.
Basically cars drifting through snow, but
Yeah.
old cars drifting through snow with open
Mhm.
wheels and stuff like that,
Oh
where
yeah.
it makes this it would without the fenders, it'll make the snow go flying a lot more. I think that'd be great.
Oh, there's an idea I had for the open fender car.
Hmm.
So in in a college, I just had like these really like creative spurts where I literally just go into like a notebook and just jot down a bunch of like images. Like I just make frames and just
I'll
go
start
about it
sketching.
that way. And I have an old one over here somewhere. It's probably just at my knees right now. So I'd make all these frames, and one of the ideas, and some of these were not like super tangible ideas. However, like I feel like they'd be possible with a crew and the correct circumstances. And I
Hmm.
thought it'd be really cool. And you'd have to have somebody that's really willing to, and there'd be a lot of people on site to do it, and there'd be like a lot of cleanup. But
Okay.
I think it'd be really cool if I can find a picture of it. Oh, here's some of like some frames I just kind of like
Oh
composed,
yeah.
and
Yeah, you'd
sometimes
be
it's helpful. It's
building
just not,
compositions.
yeah, it's just not very helpful though for myself because I don't usually reference them. So I
Mm.
forget about them.
That's a problem.
Yeah, I need
Yeah.
to make a better habit about going back to them. But all right, so what I was telling you about is I wanted an open vehicle, open fender car, so like an old hot rod, like a rat rod or so. And actually, I have a picture of it right here. So because when you have the open fender car, they literally just spit shit like everywhere. That's
Yeah.
just what they do. And I
Yeah.
really wanted to throw it into like a drift with like a
Oh,
boom,
okay.
like a
Yeah.
lift above it, and get it so it's
Mhm.
sitting down on the car, and
Yep.
have it just do like a semicircle, like a
Hmm.
half of a donut, and have it go
Yeah.
through paint, and have it start to like
Oh.
throw the paint.
Hmm.
I think
That'd
that'd
be
be really
cool.
cool. It's just you
You
have to
have to find someone
figure,
who's willing to do that to their car.
yes, and maybe you could find a paint that's like much more
You could maybe
it,
find something water based
it would have to be
or
water
yeah.
based, but like really, really, really like thin, where it dilute
Yeah.
very quickly and easily.
Yeah. I mean, depending on how much they care about the car, if you could thin it
Yeah.
out if a water base, you should be able to just add water to it to thin it out,
Yeah.
and then wash it off right away, and you
Yes.
could
It would be
you get away with most of it.
yeah, you'd have to like do a shot by shot, or maybe you get like maybe two or three donuts,
Mhm.
two or
I
three
think,
frames to it.
but seeing the car with the spotter on it could be really cool too.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it. I'm like, well, I mean, you could send it through once, and then you'd have some residual stuff on there, and you still have it throwing. I don't know. It was kind of like a cool relationship I was thinking about, because the car would likely be brown because of the rust, and all of a sudden you're adding color to it. So like it'd be like a cool contrast.
Yeah,
But
yeah, that could be really cool.
hey,
It's
if I ever do it, I'll invite you.
sounds good. Sounds like fun.
I have like this dream to rent a boom and just shoot stuff from above. Like it is
Right.
like it is something I need to do, and I will do it one
Why
day.
not just use a drone?
But I'm too much of a perfectionist. That's the problem.
Fair,
I mean,
fair enough.
this is only a problem inflicted on myself.
Yep. You didn't notice any sympathy from me, did you?
Yeah, it has to be this way. I don't
Yeah.
want to do it.
Yeah. Oh, I get that way with certain things. Absolutely.
Yeah, my
There's
dad.
some things that have to be just done just a certain way, and then some things you just want to get done.
Yeah, I used to do it with pictures, like my family portraits. My dad's like, "Why do you have to have all this equipment?" It's like, I have all of it, and it's going to make a better picture. We just want a picture.
Yeah, that's the difference between a photographer and everybody else.
Yeah, and I don't know about you. Like, I'm just somebody that it just lays on the shutter button too much.
Mm,
I shoot pictures of everything. I'm like, that looks so pretty right now. I'd be like weathered, like never come
oh,
back to it. I'll just have like all of these frames of stuff. Even like with like family holidays and stuff. I'll just have like so many pictures in my hard drive. I just never get around to like tidying them up and exporting them. So everybody's like, I never see them. It's like it's a full-time job.
well, yeah, and see that photography has more or less it slowed me down from taking photos.
Yeah.
I
I've
don't
definitely noticed times like that before too.
if I by now if I go to a car show and I don't need to take photos, I
Yeah, you
don't take a
don't.
camera with me.
I
Um,
I've noticed I will bring a camera just to bring a camera.
I will leave it in the car or
Yeah.
leave it, yeah, somewhere else. If I don't need to be, I just want to be there and enjoy it like a fan
Yeah.
and then I usually just talk to my friends who are there or something like that instead of
Yeah.
working.
Yep. I I 100% understand that feeling. I, I feel it. I feel
Yeah.
it in here. It's that's definitely how I started. It's like everything, and it's like okay,
Mhm.
now you kind of wean it down a little bit, and you're like, wow, this is still so much work. And then you're like, okay, a few here and there, and I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there are certain events where I will have a camera with me all the time,
Mhm.
but more and more it is a job. So if I'm not getting paid for it, then
Yeah.
there's why am I taking photos?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's good for like exposure and practice, but like it only goes
Mhm.
so far. Like once you kind of like hit like a certain level, you're like, do I really need to be doing this much?
I look at it like if I'm not getting if I'm going to get photos that I'm excited about, then I'll
Yeah.
take pictures. If I'm not going to be that excited about the photos,
Yeah.
then if it's just cars parked on grass,
Hmm.
then I I'm not even gonna post them to my Instagram story, or I
Mhm.
might actually in the moment I might post them to my Instagram story like, here, this is what I'm up to today, but I'm
Yeah,
not gonna post them to my grid because the photos aren't good enough.
I get that. I don't I don't know if you ever noticed in my feed. I hope I'm not talking about myself too much, but I like to mess around with like a lot of different like stupid mediums. Like last year, like during COVID, I really got into uh compact digital cameras.
Okay.
So I have a series of Coolpix cameras, and like when I got my
Right.
DSLR, I'm like, those things are absolute garbage. And then I started to look into them, and I really liked the challenge of trying an older camera. And like, I'm not a big film person. I'm not a hipster, so like, I can't be put into that category of photographer.
There's two film cameras.
Yeah, I've got I think three or four, but I've only used two of them.
I
But
probably
like,
have about 30.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
cool to look at. I don't throw film through them. It's just so expensive for me. It's like,
And I don't throw much film through them either because of the price, but it's something I would love to do a lot more of if
yeah,
again, if there was work that called for it.
yeah. I kind of thought about doing Polaroids as like a promotional, like when you're out and about at events and just kind of snapping some cool frames and just giving them away.
Hmm.
It's just um actually one of those stupid projects I've been working on. I don't know if you've ever done anything like this. I took a Polaroid one step, so it's a 600 series camera,
Okay.
and I actually converted it to take the Polaroid I type film.
This is all new to me, so
Okay.
it's going over
So
my head.
Polaroid made film again. They bought
Hmm.
out the Impossible project. So now they're making film. You can buy it natively for the 600 cameras, but they make the same size cartridge with just these tiny modifications. And the biggest difference is the newer, well, they made a camera that takes the film. It's modified because it's actually a way better camera. But
Okay.
the old style used to take the cartridge and the battery was inside the cartridge. So they don't
Hmm.
actually power themselves. It's the cartridge that powers the camera.
Yep.
Well, if you get some old film and the cartridge happens to have a burnt battery, there's no
Hmm.
way of sending that film through there.
Yeah.
So if you want to use one of the old cameras, you have to modify it. And
Okay.
I did. I bought one for $2 and I spent like maybe like $5 on stuff to convert it. I'll show you real quick if you want.
Sure.
You know what? No. It's in a different
Fair
room.
enough.
I'm not gonna put you through that.
All right.
But
No worries.
it's one of the flip opens, the classic
Hmm.
one that all the basic people like, but not
I
basic, but
I
like
actually I think I have two of them.
it's the classic look and it's what
Hmm.
everybody wants to be seen with.
Yeah. I
Unless if
never
you're a
use them.
collector, because then they're like the bare bones everybody's got. But
Yeah.
anyway, I put a battery holder in the back of it, and you can throw four double A's through it into it,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
now you have an external power source. It's a 6 volt
Right.
you need for it, and all you do is you open up the camera, pop some like you have to take all the guts out of it, which they all pull out together pretty good. They're
Hmm.
they're kind of janky cameras to be honest, but
Right.
they have these copper pins in the back, and that's what makes contact with the cartridge, and you
Hmm.
literally put a hole through the housing of the camera. You solder wires to those copper points, and
Yeah.
you put your battery cartridge on the outside. And I taped
Makes
up the
perfect
hole
sense.
so that it was light tight. So
Yeah. Makes perfect sense.
it it was a bit of a cluster. I got really pissed with it. Through my first pack of film through it. It
Right.
was like $15 for a pack, and it spit out 2 frames right off the bat. I'm like, it's only supposed to spit out the blank.
Yep.
If you ever do it, I would suggest that my flaw in it was I didn't have a pack to test it to see if it went through the motions correctly.
Okay.
So I had to learn on a fresh pack.
Right.
So
So
when it's
get a expired pack and mess with it.
yeah, but I could even like beat it at that. So what you can do is take your like put three of your batteries in the holder and then take the fourth one out if you don't have a kill switch.
Right.
Then pop in your film cartridge, and then you can put the battery in, close it, and now it should spit out just a blank.
Okay.
For whatever reason, when it has power before you put the cartridge in there, it gets all thrown off and it thinks it's dying. That's probably what happened.
Maybe it already thought it had a cartridge in it, and then you put a cartridge in it.
Maybe that's possible, or maybe it thought that it had a cartridge because of power, and you're pulling it out, so it's like, where's the film? Something like that. One of those two.
Yeah. Yep.
But actually, I have a picture from it. Honestly, it was kind of a bit of a failure of a project for my experience so far.
Right.
I took a picture of my bike. They all underexposed. I don't know why. I don't know what the ISO of the film is. I don't think I even will tell you. It's just super. From
all the Polaroids I've basically seen, they're all underexposed.
Yeah, it just sucks. And like
was the film expired?
No, this is a newer type, so I think it expires in like 8 years.
Okay,
so
fair enough. I've seen some that, and I assumed it didn't work because some of my friends have them, and I assumed it didn't work then because the film had been expired, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's brand new film. Like I said, Polaroid started making it again because they bought out Impossible Project.
Right.
So it's one of those hipster things from like 2015.
Hey, it's cool stuff. I mean, I'm just happy to see the old technology come back.
Yeah.
Even if the hipsters may have claimed it, I still dig it.
Yeah, for sure. Any kind of project you ever done like that, or experimental with camera?
I mean, besides the film cameras, I mean, I've got like, there was like the one that started it all was like a Pentax K1000, which is,
I have one. I love them.
The 35 millimeter of all 35 millimeters for a basic camera that just works.
Yep.
And this older actual boomer had given it to me. He bought it for taking pictures of tractor pull stuff.
Okay.
And it came with a couple lenses, a 2x tele converter.
Really?
And this beautiful leather bag, I think a couple filters and a variety of stuff. But it didn't come with any film.
Oh.
So I was shooting a friend's it was a 48 Plymouth with a Hemi, a beautiful car. And it had been his grandpa's. And so because it was his grandpa's, my friend's parents showed up as well. And they had a bunch of his grandpa unfortunately passed away, but they had a bunch of his camera gear because he had been an amateur photographer.
Okay.
And they had these Ziploc bags, like two of these big Ziploc bags that were full of expired film.
Wow.
And at the time, I was doing some product photography for a moonshine distillery. And so I had with me, a couple jars of moonshine. And so I traded, I forget if it was 1 or 2 jars of moonshine for these bags of expired film.
How much film did you get in that? It sounds like it's quite the stash. How much did you get?
I don't even know. I literally haven't even used it all.
Oh, really?
But the effects of it they're super weird. I mean, some of them are really, really underexposed. All of them are extremely grainy, even if it's 200 speed film.
Yeah.
It's still super grainy. But sometimes you just get these effects where it actually looks like most of my market is based around basically 1920s to 1970s cars. So it basically looks like it's shot back in like the 60s. Like all the photos, because they're so grainy and beat up.
It definitely fits the aesthetic, man.
Yeah. And so by using that camera and the expired film at the drag strip, I came across another friend who was drag racing, and he's like, he saw the camera. He's like, "Oh, I have one of those. Haven't used it in years. Do you want it?" And that's how I ended up with my second K1000 with the exact same lens, the exact same teleconverter. All that stuff. But yeah, and then by shooting that stuff at the track, I'd come across more friends who I'd known before I started shooting film. And they would come up to me and say, "Hi, you're shooting film? Okay, I've got an old camera." And so I ended up buying, actually, like a lot of them were given to me, but I ended up buying a Bronica is ETRS, which was my first medium format camera, and it works beautifully. So it uses 120 film. So instead of the 35 millimeter film being about this wide, the 120 is about this wide. So it bumps up your resolution probably like about 3 times the resolution you get from 35 millimeter film.
You know what? I did lie to you. I have used medium format. You know what? You know what the form factor was?
With digital?
No, it was a Holga.
Oh,
a piece of garbage. But keep
Fair
going.
Enough. Yeah. No, so I've got, well, there's the Bronica. No, that's a Mamiya up there. That's
Okay.
a like a twin lens, so there's two lenses on top of each
Oh,
other.
twin reflex. Yeah.
Um, on yeah, yeah. So that's a TLR,
Yeah.
twin lens reflex.
Those are cool.
Um, yeah, yeah. So and then when you adjust your focus, it has the bellows that open and close between the lens and the camera body as well.
Hmm.
So it's always an interesting looking
Yeah,
thing.
I don't think I've ever used one, so I can't tell you that I entirely know what you're talking about, like visually.
Okay, I can grab it if you want. It's just right over there.
Yeah, if you want, I don't care. I'll
Sure.
take a look at it.
Yeah, basically from as you adjust your focus.
Oh, yes, that would make sense. Yes.
So yeah, and then it's also a waist level viewfinder. So you actually look in it through the top, through there.
Yeah.
And then everything is actually mirrored because of the mirror in it. And it's the way it works is it's an odd thing to look through. And you can look through it with both eyes. And so you actually see in 3D through the viewfinder. It's a very odd
Really?
thing to look through.
Yeah, I'll have to check one out. I do have a dual reflex camera, but it's nowhere in the same ballpark. It's a
Okay.
Kodak Brownie.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's the most basic thing ever.
Yep.
It's nothing special. I actually fully disassembled it and cleaned the whole entire thing. I got it at a garage sale
Right.
for like $2 with the box. I kind
Yeah.
of want to get rid
Oh,
of it
cool.
though. I'm like, I have no use for this.
Oh, they're those things are just cool to have around. I mean, they're essentially they're basically useless because I believe those were a one time use disposable camera.
Those ones weren't. Those
Those ones
ones you
weren't
can
okay.
change the film in the bottom of it, but
Oh,
I don't
okay.
even know what size it took. They took weird sizes, and
Right.
I mean,
The other one up there takes a weird size, but you can
yeah,
if you modify the roll of 120 film, you can fit it and it should work.
yeah,
I've never used it. It literally has no settings.
really.
You take a picture. Like there's a button to take a picture. I don't know what the shutter
Picture, no
speed is.
picture. Do you want the
Yeah,
picture or not?
you can't adjust shutter speed or f-stop, and so it's
Weird.
just yeah, it's a strange one, but it's like an early 1950s Kodak.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
it's just I was like, well, it's just a bit of camera history I'm gonna keep.
Okay, I live for this stuff. I need to show you and share this. So this is
Okay,
something that like really got me going. Like I got so excited about it. At first I was stupid and I looked into it. I'm like, this is really cool. I got it. Freaking incredible. Like for what it's worth. I'll show you.
okay.
Oh no, it's my my microphone. Okay. Now I'll be back.
All right.
Okay. I'm semi back. I have to close my door real quick. It looks like crap.
Okay.
All right. Okay. You're slightly slightly. Only okay. There's only 2 wraps.
There
Okay.
you go.
I'm back. I'm back.
Yep.
Guess
All right.
who's back with no wrap? I don't have wrap. Wrap. I'm not a good singer. Okay. So I think it's really cool, especially given the time frame that came out. I'm not a big film person. I'm more so digital, and I fell in love with this thing. So let me know if you've ever seen one or if I've heard of one. So
Okay.
it is a Nikon Coolpix. I'm sure you've heard of Coolpix before, but have you ever seen one of these?
No, I'm not.
It's called
Okay.
it's an E950. I mean, the front it only says 950, but on the side it says E950. So I'm guessing that it's actually an
Right.
E950. So the party chick, ready for it?
It twists. Yeah. Okay. That's very cool. Huh.
Isn't that so cool?
Okay. So
Guess what?
it'd be that but that's digital, right?
Digital. Guess
Yeah.
the year
Okay.
it came out in. I'll give you a
Um,
full look around. It's even got an LCD in the top of it too.
that could have been early to. I'm guessing it's based on because you're so impressed with it. I'm going to say like 93.
Not that much. It's 98.
Okay,
Came in
I could see.
98. It was one of the first
Oh
like
yeah, because
really good digital cameras for the
yeah, I
consumer
was off.
market.
I was if it was film, it would have made sense to be older, but
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
hey, you got 90s. That was like
yeah,
the coolest part about it. Like it came out
yeah.
before 2000 and it used the CF card. It's got a zoom lens on it. You
Okay,
might be able to
so
see
it's
it.
actual optical zoom.
Yes, optical
Yeah.
zoom. It goes
How many megapixels?
2.1.
2.
That's
Nice.
like honestly, like in my
That's not
opinion, I
bad.
think that's crazy for 98.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that is.
it takes some really cool pictures. And if you see this like right here, this is a hot shoe socket, but it
Okay.
doesn't look
Yeah.
like one.
No.
It's a different adapter. I have two adapters for it. They're the same thing. I
Okay.
happened to get one when I bought a lot, and
Right.
it just converts it to a hot shoe. And I have an L bracket for it, so the hot shoe goes in the
Right.
side of it, so you can put your hot shoe or
Hmm.
your hot shoe flash on it.
Yeah.
The amount of stupid stuff I can do with this little camera from a time that it is obsolete at this point, but I can still use it, and it's the best. You know what I use this thing with?
What's that?
I use this thing with Pocket Wizards.
Okay.
I can wirelessly use radio triggers
Hmm.
to shoot pictures and use strobes and flashes with it.
Yeah.
It is incredible.
It's very cool. I keep wondering when the comeback of or the collectability or whatever you want to say of early digital will
Yeah,
happen. Because I figured that at some point that has to happen.
it will have to at some point. I mean, I can't predict the market, but
You're
then
starting.
wait for it. So I love that camera. I shot a bunch. I probably have at least like 2,000 frames on it. So like it's pretty decent for a
Mhm.
camera that's slow. You can. It's so funny for like the way it feels. When you
Yes.
zoom, it goes. It like has this chime, but I don't know if it's a chime or if it's just the electronics just moving it. It's
Mhm.
like a weird experience, and I feel like nobody else cares about it, but like it makes me like
It's like
so
when you
happy
have
inside.
yeah, when you had the zoom button on any of the old cameras, I feel like they all made sounds like that. Say
Yes.
if you think of like the VHS
Yeah.
camcorders zooming that have a sound.
It's just it's so cool. And then
Mhm.
your boy also did something that wasn't very good. He went on Facebook Marketplace and found this gem.
Oh, nice.
And you know what it
You may have
is?
a problem.
It's the
It's
same
another one of
exact
those. Yeah,
camera.
but in
However,
silver.
you know what the party trick is for me? Like it probably
What's
will do
that?
nothing for you, but it's like stupid. If you look at the front here, it has a little plaque right here. If you
Hmm.
could read that,
Okay.
I'll read it
Yeah.
for you. It says
Number
number
1604.
one 1604.
Yeah.
It was a Millennium edition. It says Millennium on here too. It
Nice.
was sold in, I'm assuming, right before 2000 as a limited edition for some kind of like charity. The money would go to a charity, and
Hmm.
they made 2,000 of them. And guess what? Probably has no value. But I
That
have number 1604.
that's cool. Either way, two thousand isn't that popular, so you never know.
It's just it's just funny. And then like I just had a kick. Like during COVID, like it was miserable times, especially for me. I had like a lot of stuff going on, but like it was just
Hmm.
one of those things I just kind of toyed with. They were super cheap. I paid like this one I paid 25 bucks for. And then
Right.
this one I bought like almost the whole complete kit with a bag and all the accessories. I paid 50 bucks for it.
Hmm.
So like
Yeah. That's the same price point that film cameras were at least before COVID.
yeah. So it was
They've
like
and you can still pick them up for a similar price. But yeah,
yeah.
that's that. And for digital, that's good, cheap fun.
Mm-hmm. And I can
Yeah.
throw up my Mac. I can put it on Instagram. I actually have pictures on
Mhm.
Instagram with it. If you see
Okay.
like some of my older pictures and they look kind of like the quality's kind of meh, it's
Right.
likely it's on a Coolpix camera.
Okay.
And
Very cool.
it's just one of
Cool.
those.
Uh,
And then I found this one. This
right.
one's from like I think 2004. And it's the weirdest thing. It actually has like an EVF on it.
EBF.
EVF electronic viewfinder.
Oh, that way. Yeah. Okay.
So you see through the lens, even if the screen's off, it's got a screen inside of here. Weird,
But
stupid little stuff.
was that'd make it mirrorless?
Technically, it's
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was before the Sonys and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They're not worth a lot of money. I think I paid like $35 for that. And they take this one
Okay.
archaic battery that they made for like 2 models, and they all like went flat over the years. And I found one, but they don't hold a charge for more than like 5 minutes of recording, or say
Okay.
maybe 30 frames. It kind of
Right.
stinks. Trying to find they made a battery grip for this thing on the bottom, and that one
Yeah.
takes the AA batteries, and I can put
Perfect.
rechargeables, and they'll bring it back to life. And I'm like, never underestimate the power of lithium-ion AA batteries.
Yep. Because they're classics.
I'm sorry to geek out so much. It's just like
Hey.
that stuff, like it like resonates within me. I can tell everybody about it, and nobody understands it. And it's just like,
Hey, it's some cool stuff. The form factor of that camera though is so bizarre.
yeah,
It's
just,
like the twist is like, I mean, to yeah, it's just a weird.
it's a selfie camera
imagining
before.
cradling that.
It's like this.
You
know what?
That actually looks surprisingly decent.
It's actually really not the most uncomfortable thing ever. It's got like the little viewfinder on the side. It's optical, but it's not actually correct. It's not perfect to what you see. It doesn't actually see through it. You can see right through it. However, when you zoom it, it does actually change the zoom factor of that little display too. Which is kind of cool. Nice. I've had some old, cheaper cameras that don't do that.
Right. Yeah. It's just stupid stuff. Well, that's the charm of it. It makes you happy.
Yeah. I don't know. I've actually gone to car shows with that before and just started snapping off pictures. Like, and if you want the film experience and you don't have the budget for it, like I swear, by all means, they're an incredible camera. They have almost full manual control. The only thing you can't control is the ISO. The following model, you actually could. This one, you can't. Okay. But you can change your shutter speed. You can change your aperture. It's honestly, it's a really good learning tool. And even as somebody that's not an amateur, like just, I mean, I would call myself a working professional. I know my ins and outs of my DSLRs. It's the same concepts, but like going to something like that, it slows you down because you can only take pictures so fast and you have to buffer for a while. And you're not pushing like crazy limits with raw files and that. You're not bracketing. Like you're like really using the cores of it. And
you're using it how it was meant to be used.
Yeah. And you're using it within its own limitations. Like it's such a good learning tool, and it's so good for like learning compositions and stuff. Like I recommend it to anybody.
Yeah, it's the same. I think film just takes that a little bit further because you can't see what you
can't open
shot.
Up too much. You can only open up that much. I'm sorry. Yeah, probably not 15 minutes. All right. Sorry. I make Grace wait, and I feel kind of
bad. You're good. All good.
But not too much longer. I'll try to keep this a little bit on the shorter side. But
yeah, no worries.
An update. My images did get published in Jacob's magazine.
I did see that on Instagram.
I found out on Christmas Eve. My friend Sean sent it to me, and I was so excited. I'm like, I got everything I wanted for Christmas.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
And it made the front cover, so I'm like, cool.
Congratulations on the cover.
I think it's a smaller magazine, but like, I'm so happy to finally have like a start somewhere being published. It's so cool. So
the first time being published is amazing.
Yeah. I haven't gotten it in my hands yet, so I don't even know what the articles look like. I've only had like those 2 small little previews of it, and I'm like, I'm just
waiting to see what's going to happen. Always sucks.
Yeah. I just hope that they put my photo credit in there. I don't actually know if they did or not. I
mean, most magazines are usually really good about that.
Yeah, but we'll see.
Yeah,
I'm just a little bit anxious on that.
Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah. On that news, I got a cover with the next issue of Canadian Hot Rods.
I saw that. Congrats with that too.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, it was a really fun shoot. I had it was actually at an original. Maybe you guys never had them in the States. They were I feel like you would have at a BA station, a
A VA
British
station
American
or
Petroleum.
BA, American
BA.
Petroleum. It
British American.
sounds kind of familiar, but I don't
Okay.
actually know for certain. That's not really my era where I'm super
hmm
up to date
So
on.
basically, from what I gather, it's the last of the BA stations in Canada that's still standing.
Mhm.
It's owned by an auction house now, but they still had all the signs up on the building
Yeah,
and their standing sign out by the road for the BA state, like how it
really.
was with the BA station. And
Yeah.
yeah, so it's on an old highway.
Okay.
Um, and so the guy's car that I was shooting, he lives over 2 hours away from me, and it was another half hour other side of his place. And so he knew where it was.
Mhm.
So we literally hopped in his car and we went out there and did the photo shoot, it was pretty cool.
Yeah. No, it definitely looks cool. I gave your website a look the other
hmm
day. I had to steal your logo. Forgive
Oh
me,
yeah,
but I had to give credit to you. I put it in those
yeah,
video previews if you saw it or not for our
I
last
saw that.
podcast.
Yeah,
I just kind of wanted to put some branding on there, so
that
I'll have
makes
to work
sense.
on that again next time. But seeing your images on like my laptop screen, they're way better than
Mm,
Instagram. Like there's a lot more life to them. Seeing them on a different format, they look
yeah.
incredible.
Well, it's that way with seeing them on any different format.
Yeah.
Um, and that's one of the reasons I always love seeing things in print. And if I can get a high quality print of my images, it's even better.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But
Like
yeah, no, I appreciate you saying that, because you only see so much. I mean, Instagram's designed to be seen on a phone, and at that
that's
size,
about it.
that's about it. You don't see that much.
No, even if you're on the computer with it, it's not like it's that
It's
substantially
still not
better.
the same. Yeah.
No. Yeah,
No, print, the bigger the print, the better.
for sure. I've got a lot of them. I think the largest one I've ever made was probably like a 3 foot by like 2 foot. I love seeing it
Okay.
on such a large scale. I need to make
Yeah.
bigger though. I'm going to one day.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I
Um.
think I think it had a 20 by 40. I
Okay.
just hung up and framed up here. Just yeah. It feels good seeing stuff of that size, because just the details that,
Yes.
especially in that image, that get lost is crazy.
I will go back to the images in print and I'll just stare at the details and be like, wow, 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 wow.
Yeah, wait, you don't typically look at the images on even a computer screen at that scale.
Oh,
And when you can see the entire image and still pick up those details, it's really cool.
yeah. I
Mhm.
I went through a pretty decent amount of length to make sure like my website looked good and like my homepage. I'm like in love with my landing page. If you've
Right,
seen that picture with me standing in front of my car with a respirator on, that's my
right.
landing page.
Okay, cool.
And seeing it like on a full blown like the whole entire like screen of the computer, it's like holy cow! Like this just hits different.
hmm Yeah, it's something with it's, and that's the other thing with I guess when I come to any print stuff like that with the magazines, the layouts make such a huge difference with it.
Yeah.
And I like a magazine that has mediocre photography but laid out really well.
Mhm.
It elevates the photography to look like high end photography,
Yes. If
and vice versa. If you have excellent photography laid out poorly, it
Mhm.
decreases the value of the photography.
Yeah. No, it's definitely they complement each other. I mean,
hmm
either that or they can take away from each other. I mean, or show where the other one lacks, I guess, if you want to say.
Yeah, they sort of poke holes in each other or elevate each other.
Yeah. Type and
Yeah,
layout was something I've gotten okay with it, but it's never been something that just came to me or I enjoyed that much. Like it's very
same.
much something I had to work hard on. But like once you figure that out and you start getting some stuff that's actually good, it's like, holy cow, this looks amazing.
When it's right, it feels so good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If it's bad, it's like, why am I bothering?
Yep.
That was my
Yeah.
whole entire college experience.
Yeah. I feel like I still got a long way to go with typography in my work. There's
Yeah.
still a lot of potential there,
Mhm.
but it's all in so many little details and attention to a lot of little things to get it to a good place.
Yeah. I just never realized it. And then like once you like look at something like that genre of art, you're like, wow, there's so much more depth to it that I've never paid attention when I'm just looking at things.
Yeah, they did a good job in when I was in college of trying to drill that into my head.
Yeah,
Watching for like, I mean, you get into that stuff, watching for widows, orphans, rivers, and all that stuff. It's like there's a whole art to laying out good type.
honestly, I can't do most all that stuff, but like I can do a
Yeah.
little bit. I'm like, yay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's becoming something that's less and less popular as any print goes away more and more, and
Yeah.
people care about print layout less and less, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of thinking about it like in an Instagram sense. A lot of people are making
Mm,
content to be published, but it seems like there's much more limited pool of people that are creating the platform in which the stuff is published on.
right.
So for most people, it's turnkey. Like what you see is what you're gonna get. That's all it's gonna be. It's
Hmm.
just okay, publish, bam, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's really satisfying to take it a bit further
for sure.
whenever possible, but usually there's no point to it.
Mhm.
Because everything digital is meant to be seen on multiple platforms, so you can't actually lay out type. It
Yeah,
doesn't.
that definitely seems like a bummer.
It
A
is.
modern problem.
It
Yeah, I
is.
get that.
When I look at like, but that's another one of the reasons is to love print, because
Mhm.
it's like that's one of those things that just elevates the experience of it that much further.
For sure. Yeah, I hear you there with that. It's just one of those funny things I just learned. Like that's one of the more useful things I learned in college. I mean, I never would have gotten into that until like long time if I ever
Right.
would.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
Same.
hated it. And then once I got out of school, I started using it because I do a lot of illustrator work for like personal projects and stuff. And once you
Right.
figure it out, you're like, wow, there is just so much value in this that I just never knew.
Mhm. Oh, there
So
is. Yeah. Yep. I think it's one of those things that comes with possibly with maturity to
probably.
an extent.
Yeah. Okay, it says
Yeah.
words. Cool. And you're like, wow, look at how the words are.
Yep. Yep. I remember going to see going to a design studio when we were in college, and
Yeah.
the copywriter came in and he looked at all of us designers, and he's like, now remember that words aren't there just to look at. They actually have a meaning. And it was
Yeah.
like that. You could tell he'd have these arguments with designers about type layout.
Mm,
And if you change that word, and he was like, well, he's coming from from a different standpoint than a designer is. And it was the first time I'd ever heard anybody say anything like that. And because he was worked at a design studio and was talking to designers,
yeah.
but he wasn't a designer. Yeah, it was great.
It makes sense.
Hmm.
But let me see what else we got over here. You know what? I'll pick us one more topic real quick
Sure.
because I should probably let you get onto your things, and I don't want to keep Grace bored forever.
Fair enough.
um. Okay. Maybe this is something we can revisit later, but maybe I'll plant this seed in your mind. Maybe
Hmm.
you'll notice. So, do you think there's a difference between, or do you see a difference between Canadian and American car culture?
Yes, but
Yeah.
in the same way that you see a difference between East Coast and West Coast styles.
Yeah.
Um, there's so I remember so there's I remember going down to Ohio to Cleveland for the piston powered Autorama,
Okay.
and I went with a group of people, and I think we took 10 cars. And I say the cars we brought sat different, looked different, and had different flavors than any of the cars there.
Yeah.
Not that they were better or worse, but they were different just because of the styles. And then the cars that were there sat like, I feel like the stance was different, but that's to set like the Canadian car culture is still so inspired by the pages of magazines, and a lot of that comes from California with a bit of East Coast stuff mixed in there, but California gets so much attention. And so that obviously influences a lot of what we see in Canada. But there's definitely different flavors. Um, but I would say that it's heavily inspired by a lot of what happens in the States,
Yeah.
but somehow it picks up a different flavor to it as well.
Okay.
I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah. So you think there is a difference though?
Yeah, yeah, I would say there is a difference in the style of modification that you see.
Mhm.
Um, but I couldn't really put a finger on what it is.
Is it the snow tires? Is it the tire chains?
Maybe. Yeah. Ah. To be fair, it was March when we went, and I drove back from Cleveland in a '57 Chevy. We drove it. He drove it all the way there
Really?
and all the way back.
Really?
Yeah,
That's pretty impressive. I can't say I've ever
yeah.
shared that same experience.
It was quite the experience. It started off rocky because
Yeah.
as he was pulling out of the show, um, basically someone came speeding across. So we were in the basement of the IX Center,
Okay.
and the basement there's this amazing tunnel that you have to drive through to go in the basement, and the cars all just it's all concrete, so the cars sound amazing. And but anyway, pulling out, there had been this motorcycle came flying up the road, and you up on an angle, and the two of them didn't see each other in time, and it ended with the motorcyclist laying on the hood of the car and this huge dent in the
Really?
front fender and door of this pristine straight black '57 Chevy.
Oh,
Yeah. And so that was I hopped in with the guy knowing that he was going to be a little tense for the drive.
yeah.
Yeah,
Was he
but
a little
it ended up
tense?
being it ended up being an amazing drive after, he had calmed down a bit,
I
obviously.
totally understand that.
Yeah. So I got the guy went with, he grew up in Windsor, which is just across the border from Detroit. And so he had all kinds of stories about being in Detroit in the 60s and 70s because he's an older gentleman.
Okay.
And in Detroit's heyday, running across the border to different concerts and all,
Yeah.
because in that era, Detroit was, it was a manufacturing center,
Yeah.
but it also, along with that, it was sort of a cultural center
Yeah.
in America. And so the bands you'd see just in bars in Detroit were incredible. And so
Yeah.
he was telling me all about that stuff and how he didn't know what was going on when he had a girlfriend in Michigan, and he was coming through Detroit,
Mm.
and he thought he heard a car backfire, but literally, there was gunfire happening, and that was the Detroit riots. And so
Really?
and it was yeah. And if I hadn't hopped in with him that day, I would have never got this firsthand account of being in Detroit during the Detroit riots. And I mean, he hightailed it out of there in a hurry, and he
Yeah.
had to go. I think he went up to Port Huron to get across to Sarnia to
Yeah.
come back into Canada then,
Yeah.
because they had shut the border there for a couple of weeks during that
Really?
at the Detroit crossing. Yeah.
Hmm. That's pretty
But
cool.
it was it was interesting. I mean, since then I've asked more and more our couple friends about Detroit riots if they were alive during the time, what they knew about it, and because
Mhm.
it's one of those things I hear about, but I never really hear a story about. Just something that
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
So it
It'd
was
definitely be worth the digging
Mhm.
for
Yeah,
sure.
it's an interesting it was an interesting time for sure.
Yeah, I'd be all ears for that.
Yeah, and so then even to catch up with what buildings are still original
Mhm.
and what's restored and what's not. And so next time I go to Detroit Autorama, there's a hotel I want to check out, even just to walk into the lobby, because
Yeah.
apparently it's how Detroit was before the riots, with
Okay.
the ballrooms and the lights the way they were, and
Yeah.
just the decor that should be like 1960s.
Huh. Cool.
So
Alrighty.
hopefully, yeah,
Yeah, let
that's
me know
the
if when you want to make that trip. I might have to make myself a trip out there too. You said it was Cleveland?
well for no well the one for the building would be Detroit. For
Okay, you
I would
said
go for
Motorama
Detroit.
was Cleveland.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I believe that one's called an Autorama as well. It's a
We can
piston
come in.
powered Autorama in Cleveland, which is an incredible show to go to,
Yeah.
because they have everything there. They don't just have cars.
Yeah.
There's a military display, there's a boat display, there's a tractor display.
Damn.
Um, there's like a heavy equipment like dump trucks and stuff like that in there, and
Yeah.
airplanes. So they actually fly in airplanes on display for the show as well.
Yeah. That sounds really cool.
Yeah,
So
it's definitely worth going to. I won't be there for the next couple of years again, but we'll see.
yeah. All right. Well, I'll definitely keep that in mind. Well, I
Absolutely.
appreciate I appreciate your time again and your cooperation and
No problem at all.
dealing with my boomer moment. I'm not very proud of that, but it's been a fun time.
Absolutely, I enjoyed it as well.
It's been a great time continuing the conversation.
Absolutely, anytime.
I have plenty more questions for you if you want to do it again.
Let me know. We can. I'm happy to chat anytime.
I know what I'm doing now.
All right,
I understand. But it was nice talking to you, Kenny.
You as well.
I'll see you soon.
Sounds good. Take care, Bailey.
Alrighty. Have a nice night, dude.
Catch you too. Take care. Bye.